Brejic presented a strong front to his tribe, but he was smart enough to realize the danger he was in. The first attempt on his life was clumsy, and ultimately failed because it relied upon those without the blessings of the brother gods. Next time he would not be so lucky. The only option was to regain some of the power lost to him when the Lizardmen claimed his sanctum as their hunting grounds. But he would have to be subtle. He could not risk bringing disloyal members of the herd, so he would be restricted to a small group of his most loyal warriors. And so Brejic set out with a very small force to recapture his items of power. He and his force were able to avoid the majority of the Lizardmen forces. When they arrived at his sanctum, all he saw was a group of orange skinks searching the wreckage. With a snarling smile, Brejic ordered the attack. As the Beastmen swept into the clearing, bearing down upon the small Lizardmen, Brejic heard an ear-shattering roar. As he looked up, he saw a number of gigantic dinosaurs moving to support the skink scavengers. "Oh, shit," Brejic said, and he prepared for a very bad day. Okay, so we've got a very unusual scenario in this one. It's from the Big Red Book, and it's called the Heroic Last Stand scenario. Reason we're doing this one is that Michael is absolutely tired of how bad Brejic has fallen, and I've been completely unable to kill him in every other game we've played to give Michael the opportunity to get a new character. So we've decided to set this one up. The whole idea is that Brejic and his troops are surrounded by Lizardmen forces and have to survive. Now, if I can successfully kill Brejic here, Michael automatically gets a new Gorbel character he'll be introducing. If Michael can last till the end of turn 3, which by this scenario's rules is a draw, he will also get a new Shaman who can have the lore of his choice. And then by the scenario rules, for him to get a win, he has to last 7 turns. It's pretty crazy. But the one thing to keep in mind is on the hill in the middle, there's a statue, looks like a demon statue. That is his sanctum token. Any of his units within 6 inches of that token are unbreakable. So I'm going to have to get in there and kill him. Also, if he goes outside of that area that he starts in, basically off the hill, if he's outside of 12 inches from that, he has to make leadership checks -2 every turn to not desert. So we'll go ahead and get in deployment and see where that goes. So Michael has to deploy entirely on, basically in this small area. Atop the hill, basically standing amongst his totem, is Gore. It's looks like 18. Now, keep in mind, he only has a third of the points I have, so it definitely is small. Brejic is with them. Those Gores have hand weapon and shield and are marked Nurgle. Then he's got 5 Chaos Dogs and 10 Ungor Raiders on the side there. Now, I start to have fun. I'm bringing in a Troglodon in the back. Now, he basically gets to deploy in that center area. I can deploy anywhere else on the board as long as I'm more than 8 inches away from him. So, I decided to have the Troglodon be my up-front guy, so he actually got in behind him, and everything else is on the other side. And as you can see, everything else is Mapikaju on an ancient Stegodon. He is level 2 Lore of Heavens and has the Engines of the Gods. Next, you see I have a unit of 40 Skinks cohort with a single Croxagore in there. They all have javelins and poison attacks. And with them is Kubonai, who has the Egg of Quango. And that's it that he's got. Then on this side, I have the 2 base of Jungle Swarms and a Bastillodon. And although it doesn't look like it, the Bastillodon does actually have the Arc of Sotek for this game. I kind of wanted to give it a try and see what happens. So we go, Beastmen get their first turn. Basically, the Ungors are coming out to deal with the Jungle Swarms. He thinks he can shoot them or basically get in the way. The dogs turn around so to redirect Mapikaju on the Stegodon so I can't get into his big brick unit. And then he spins the big brick unit around to face the Troglodon. Not really sure that's the best idea, but I guess he was thinking it's better that than to take a Troglodon in the back. During his magic phase, he does get off Vile Tide on the Troglodon. I either fail to stop it or I don't try. I don't recall which. But I rely on the Trog's toughness and armor, and I do a pretty good job of it. He only ends up suffering 1 wound. Then over here in shooting, the shots of the Ungors put, I believe that's 2 wounds on one of the swarm bases. So then we go into my turn. I decide, you know what, the swarms are going to get shot to death or they're going to die in combat either way, so I decide to go ahead and charge them in. He actually got too close, so he was too close for me to stand and shoot, so I easily succeeded the charge. And Mapikaju was easily going to take the bait. He charges at the Chaos Hounds and easily succeeds that as well. And everything else kind of moves up. I got the horde of skinks close enough where they can take long shots at his Nurgle Gores on the hill. I also move the Troglodon around, so he's going to have to make a choice and either turn to get me or take this as his opportunity to get off the hill and run towards the open area, which is probably the smarter choice here in my opinion. So then on my turn, I succeed on getting a buff on the swarm, which really didn't matter, but I also got the Engine of God's explodey power off. So it kills a bunch of the Nurgle guys. It does 2 wounds, I think, to the Chaos Hounds in front of me, and the Ungors are in range too, so it kills a couple of them as well. And I think I killed 1 or 2 more of the Gores with my shooting, but this is what we're looking like after combat. Obviously, the Ancient Stegodon stomps a hole in the dog, so he turns to face the side of the Gore unit. Then during combat, the Ungor Raiders actually get all but 1 of the wounds off one of the snake bases, but don't manage to kill one. I kill, I think that's 4 or 5. I win, end up breaking them. I choose not to pursue, mainly because I kind of wanted to keep everything hedged in, so they run there and I reform. And then at the end of my turn, I succeed in generating another swarm base from the Ark of Sotek. So we go into Beastman turn, and here I think Michael made a big mistake. He really wasn't willing to give up that Unbreakable, even in the face of overwhelming odds. I probably would have continued running and just marched away and made me have to chase him down and just run the risk of failing the leadership check. But he decided that the Brejic was going to whip the Beastmen into a frenzy and turn to stare down Mapikaju and his Ancient Stegodon. So good on him, I guess. The Ungors do reform, but they stay pointed at the Troglodon. He gets Vile Tide off. It's really a bad roll, but he tries to Vile Tide the Horde and kills 4 of the Skinks. Between just not rolling a lot of hits and me armor saving them, because it's only strength 1, he just didn't do as well as he possibly could have. And then on my turn, everything charges, and I get in with the swarms against the 4 remaining Ungor, against their back because he didn't turn around. I bring the Troglodon into the rear of his Ungor, or his Gores on the hill, bring Mapikaju and the entire Skink horde in to go mix it up, and it's just a bad day for the Beastmen. But that's kind of what this scenario is, so we'll have to see how he can hold out. Over here, I think I get the explosion off again. Either that... Oh, no, it's not the explosion. It's the range thing from the Bastillodon, which kills all but 1 of the Ungors here. And then the combat goes real bad. Brejic declares a challenge, hoping to keep himself alive. Mapikaju and the Ancient Stegodon accept, and yeah, the Ancient Stegodon just makes a mess of Brejic. The Skink Skirmishers, to make matters worse, I popped the Egg of Quango, and I just did so many wounds, but he's still unbreakable. So he gets 1 dude remaining against that entire horde going into turn 3. Obviously, the swarm kills the 1 last remaining Ungor, which was no big surprise. So the only way that is possible for this Beastman to make it to get his special Shaman character, the new special Shaman character, is for this one Beastman to last 2 rounds, and sad to say, it does not occur. News had arrived quickly, first to the Gorbel of Brejic's death, and he slew the messenger to avoid witnesses. After which he gathered the herd before him to take his rightful reign. Brejic is dead, no longer to lead the chosen. But I am strongest here, and I will lead. The crowd of beastmen brayed and shouted in dismay and discord, but the sound was quickly driven away by the unified roars of the Minotaur. As the noise died down, the bull again spoke. I am king now. You will all bow to me. The crowd seemed to wish to test him by remaining on their feet, but this would prove to be a foolish endeavor. Bow before King Shrock, now! Again the crowd seemed to not waver, but this time the newly appointed king would have no disrespect. Storming forward, the massive frame of the bull cleaved into the crowd, using no more than claw and tooth. The rest of the Minotaurs happily followed suit. It took only a moment of this before the whole of the herd had dropped to their knees. Shrock had taken the power of the herd, but in doing so had managed to seal his own fate. As a usurper among the beastmen, typically share the ending of those they replace. However, now it is the time of King Shrock. Any that dared oppose him would be cut down swiftly and mercilessly. That was the way of the herd, as only the most brutal and strong could ever hold the chaos of it together. Okay, so pretty much what we expected from the Beastmen given this scenario. Not really sure how anybody can quote-unquote win this scenario from the other side, but given the rules, Michael was very happy that Brejic finally died and he gets to replace him with King Shrock. So it'll be very interesting to see where he goes from there. I really think the only thing Michael could have done maybe to get some more turns is instead of turning around to face my Lizardmen in turn 2, he should have just run off the hill, headed for that forest on the left side of the board, and he could have gotten away. It would have taken me at least another turn to kind of reorganize so I could charge him again. If he had marched, because they've got a good speed. 10 inches is not anything to really be sad about. And I think if he had done that, he could have stretched it out to the third turn and unlocked his Shaman as well. And really not a great success for the Lizardmen, all things considered. For winning the battle, I did get 7 gold pieces from the end of battle roll. But I think I was really too focused in this game. When I have such a point benefit, I really should have focused more on getting gold. There was lots of stuff I could have looted. I could have run off and done that rather than really go for the throat like I could have. So I probably should have done that. It would have been better for the game in the long run. But it was kind of fun just to throw this bizarre list that would work in no other circumstance together and see what would happen. It's really funny just to see a horde of skink skirmish or skink cohort with one single Croxagore in it. That kind of amused me. But all in all, I thought it was a pretty fun game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. It will maybe the shortest battle report I've ever done. But if you have any questions, please leave them below. If you're going to give me crap for winning on this one, don't, because that's how the scenario is put together. We agreed with it. Everybody knew what was going on when we went into this, and Michael wanted Brejic to die, and I had failed to do that, so this is how this happens. So, all in all, like I said, it was a good one. Leave any questions or comments below, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.